Hi guys, I'm Joe from American Trucks, and today I'm going to be reviewing and installing the Airaid MXP series cold air intake with the Synthaflow Oil Filter, fitting all 13 to 18 5.7 Hemi powered Ram 1500s. Now this kit is perfect for the Ram owner that's looking to replace their restrictive factory intake with something that's a lot more free-flowing. It's one of the most well-engineered and manufactured kits on the market and doesn't mind paying top dollar for it. The idea with all cold air intakes is to draw in more air and colder, therefore denser air to create more power, giving your engine more O2 to burn. Looking at the factory system, we have a really old school flex pipe that creates turbulence in the incoming air, as well as a closed element box with a paper filter inside of it. The idea with all cold air intakes is to draw in not only more, but cooler and therefore denser air, giving your engine more O2 to burn. That tube is going to promote smooth airflow, cutting down on turbulence, which is going to create some more power. Also, another benefit of plastic, unlike metal, plastic tends to shed heat faster. Metal tends to soak it in, hold that heat in there, which is going to increase the ambient air temperature. Plastic basically sheds that heat as fast as possible. This kit also features Airaid Synthaflow Oil Filter. Now, the difference between a dry and oil filter does have a little bit larger openings, allowing for more airflow, relying on the tackiness of the oil inside to trap incoming particles. Now with that does come maintenance, so you can wash this and re-oil it and basically get a fresh filter. But that can be a little bit much for some owners. If that doesn't sound like something you want to do, you can get the same cold air intake with the Synthamax dry filter as well. That filter will come in a choice of black, red, or blue as well. This kit also does not require a tune because we're not changing the diameter of the tubing, so you're free to run this on the factory ECU tune and you'll still feel some throttle response, hear some induction noise, and make some horsepower and torque. As you can see, we're working with the red filter today, but it also does come in a choice of black or blue if those are more your style. Like I said earlier, this is going to be one of the more expensive kits on the market, with pricing coming in at around 400 bucks. Now that's not to say that it's not worth it. For that price, you're getting one of the most well-engineered and manufactured kits out there. Also included in that price is Airaid's 1-year manufacturer warranty. Before we move on to the install, I just wanted to make a quick note that the Airaid MXP is not CARB legal. So if you do live in one of those more emissions restrictive states, take a look at some of Airaid's other options. So with that being said, install is going to be very easy. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. Should only take you an hour to get it installed with some basic hand tools. So without any further ado, let me show you how to get this on your truck. For this install, you will need an impact, ratchet, extension, flathead, 13mm socket, 15mm socket, 8mm socket, and a 4mm Allen key. So first things first, we got to get our factory intake out of the way. Now that is going to be really simple. It's only a couple steps. First, we're going to unclip the air temperature sensor, take off this crankcase vent hose, and undo the clamp around the throttle body, and the whole thing pulls out as one big unit. Now in order to prep for our new crankcase vent hose, we have to get the old one out of the way. We're going to remove this engine cover and that just pulls right off. So before we move on to the table, we just need to prep where our new airbox is going to sit. You're going to remove these 2 grommets. They're going to transfer over to your new airbox, and then hit these 2 13mm bolts here, undo those, but keep them handy. You are going to reuse them to reinstall our new airbox. So with our Airaid system completely built, I just wanted to take a second to lay it out on the table next to our old stock system. and note the key improvements. As you can see, we ditched this old school intake tube with this flex pipe on here. This is exactly what's going to create turbulence on the incoming air, losing power, hindering power. We also lose this big, ugly factory air box with that old school paper filter inside in exchange for something that has a smooth intake tube, an open element designed to the box, and replacing that old school paper filter with the Synthaflow Oil Filter, all of which are going to help improve power. Also, with the two next to each other on the table, it is blatantly obvious just how much better this Airaid system is going to look under the hood of your Ram. So now that we're on the table, we still have to steal some more parts from our old airbox, mostly these two grommets here and this air scoop. And we could push those grommets into our new airbox. Now, as you can see, I skipped two holes. These are intended to be your water drain holes, so they are going to remain empty. And the scoop goes on just like so, and it's cleverly marked. It says top right here. It should be oriented like this. So next we are going to install our filter coupler. As you can see, it gets this foam seal. Make sure it's lined up with the bowl holes. Then you can apply it to the airbox like so. And there's some 4mm button head screws included in the kit that we're going to use to tighten that down. The next step, we are going to install this barb fitting into this threaded hole here. We're going to use a 15mm socket to tighten that down. Now, if this doesn't seat all the way, that's perfectly fine. I don't recommend tightening this down with too much torque, as if you did strip this out or hurt this in any way, that would be a pretty crucial component to lose. So leave it sit like that. As long as it makes a good seal, that's fine. Next, we're going to install this piece of weather stripping along the outside edge of the airbox. Next, we could grab our factory intake tube. We're going to take this air temperature sensor and transfer it over to our new Airaid intake tube. And you can turn that counterclockwise to release it and gently pull straight out. Next, we can install our grommet to our new intake tube. And transfer the sensor. Next, we could seat our new couplers. The one with the step down is going to go to our throttle body, and the one with the hump in the middle is going to go toward our airbox. Then we can tighten them down using an 8mm socket. And our last step before we go over to the truck is we're going to build up our breather hose here. You're going to use the double barb fitting to apply that 90-degree angle. and the other fitting left in the kit goes on the opposite end. And lastly, we're just going to steal this elbow from the factory tube and apply it to our new fitting. And we can reinstall that breather hose to the factory location. And with that hose in place, we can reinstall our factory engine cover. Now there are some pegs at the back of this that need to be seated and some grommets on top of the manifold. With that hose in place, we can reinstall our factory engine cover. There's some grommets at the back of the valve cover that gets seated into, and then two more on the side that secure it. Next, we could drop in our new air box and secure that using the two factory 13mm bolts that we removed earlier. And while we're here, we could reinstall our breather hose onto the fitting we installed to the coupler earlier. With our intake starting to take shape, the last step is to apply our new intake tube, tighten up some clamps, and reinstall our air temperature sensor harness. And lastly, we can install our red Synthaflow Oil Filter and tighten down the clamp using an 8mm socket. And that is going to do it for my review and install of the Airaid MXP series cold air intake featuring the Synthaflow Oil Filter, fitting all 13 to 18 5.7 Ram 1500s. Thank you for watching. I'm Joe, and for all things Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.